what you live in, your bubble, is not the world. It's not about who you are. It's about who you're helping.
Your positive imprint.
Stories are everywhere. People and their positive action inspire positive achievements.
Your PI could mean the world to you. Get ready for your positive imprint.
Hello there, I'm Catherine, your host of this variety show podcast. Your positive imprint is transforming how we live today for a more sustainable tomorrow through education and information. Your own positive actions inspire change. Follow me on Instagram, and brilliant, I'm updating my YouTube channel, Your Positive Imprint, and you can also follow me on Facebook and connect with me on LinkedIn. Check out my website, yourpositiveimprint.com, where you can learn more about the podcast and sign up for email updates. Thank you so much for listening on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Podbean, Pandora, Amazon Music, well, your favorite podcast platform, and of course, an updated YouTube channel. Music by the legendary and talented Chris Knoll. chrisknoll.com, CHRISNOLE. Thank you again for listening and for your support of this podcast. Your Positive Imprint. What's your PI? Well, I am absolutely delighted to introduce my guest here on today's show. And he's sitting next to me
Here
live.
I am. Yes.
As an educator, I have had the honor of nurturing his critical thinking skills throughout his childhood. I fondly remember reading his captivating stories in class, watching him lead the student council, and listening to him address the mayor about issues that matter to middle schoolers. I cheered him on as he achieved his Eagle Scout rank. His leadership has allowed him to navigate various paths to success, making lifelong friends along the way. In his own words, he discovered himself through his group of friends. He has committed himself to fitness, training for his next competition, and authored a book titled Friendboats. He occasionally co-hosts Your Positive Imprint. I could go on and on about my remarkable former student. I am so excited to welcome the absolute incredible Brad Sedillo.
I'm excited to be here. The tree of your seeds that you've been planting. I am the tree. My friends call me a tree, so here we are.
I love that.
They describe running into me like running into a tree. So there you go.
Well, you are incredible. Continue now with part 2. Traveling has always been a dream of yours as well, especially because you do have that background of loving history.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so now you have Friendboats.
Yes. Yeah.
I want you to just read this part for listeners because this was interesting how you chose the title.
Yeah.
By your friend John.
Yes. So there is a toast that we used to do, and I'm sure many of you have heard this before, at all of the parties that we used to have. And it goes, there are good ships and there are wood ships, and there are ships that sail the sea, but the best ships are friendships, and may they ever be. And I think it's a fun toast. And if you're with your friends, you can say it in sort of with the tongue-in-cheek manner, and it's fun. And so I wrote this then. John made fun of me for using the same thing over and over, so he made his own version. There are good boats and there are wood boats, and there are boats that sail the sea, but the best boats are friend boats, and may they ever be. So
I love that.
There you go, friend boats. Yeah. I feel like it's a good sort of insider joke that encapsulates my relationship with my friends. So yes.
Which is much of the book, is your friendship with your friends. You made a statement and you said, with your group of friends, you found yourself.
Right.
So I always thought, well, Brad being in 3rd grade, my goodness, he has found himself for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Because you were always anchored and grounded with logic, and you went towards opportunity, but then you made that comment. So why do you think you didn't know yourself or find yourself until you found your friends? So can you?
Yeah, I think it goes back to what I was saying in terms of what I thought I wanted to be in terms of politics, and then eventually finding out what it actually was that I liked about that whole thing. And so I think in terms of what my friends helped me do when I moved into the dorms, that was all of the friends that I wrote about in the book are the friends that I made in the dorms when I moved to college. One of the things that I realized is that I think I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to be what I had already told people I wanted to be, whereas I had already begun thinking that I don't want to be the thing that I told people that I want to be. So I needed to sort of get out of the sort of self-imposed prison, really, of what I had thought that I wanted my life to be. And that also extended to my personality and how I sort of comported myself. I feel like in high school, I was, for a lot of the time, if I wasn't with my closest friends, really buttoned up and, and sort of almost full of myself. It was sort of, thinking back on it, I think that I was full of myself when I was in high school, which is, people hate high school. And I think I hate high school in my memory because I'm like, God, I wish I was a better person in high school, sort of thing. I could have had so much more fun if I had just let myself not be perfect all the time.
You did strive for that.
Yeah.
You really, even in third grade, you would get so frustrated.
Right.
If everything wasn't perfect and you had to redo papers.
Right.
Not because I said so.
Right.
Because you said
because
so.
I messed it up. Yeah. So that whole pressure that I was, that's why my hair is prematurely gray. Because I put way too much pressure on myself to have everything be perfect and fit a mold that I was telling others that I wanted to be. And so what they did in high school, in college, and sort of why they became my closest friends is because they showed me that, hey, you can be who you really want to be and who you are, and it's fine. That was the whole thing. I learned that it's fine to just exist and have fun and not be so buttoned up all the time. So, and that, here we are, we're talking about all these things that I've done since I learned that lesson. And so look at how much more productive I've been because of that, as opposed to trying to be the president of UNM student council or whatever, So I think it was a godsend that I sort of veered off of that path that I had set for myself and found one that was still good and also, I think, better than would have been. So,
and I agree. You are fabulous. And you are. The old Brad, I believe, would never have come on to co-host Your Positive Imprint.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't have felt comfortable in trying to be on the fly.
Banter. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
not at all.
Because you would want the script.
Right.
How long did it take you to write this book?
So I feel really bad saying that I enjoyed COVID, but, obviously COVID was a terrible thing and bad things happened and a lot of those things should have been avoided and so on and so forth. But for me personally, I'm an introvert through and through. I love working from home, which I've now been working from home since March of 2020, and I love it. And despite the travel aspect of it, because obviously I want to travel, I got back into it very quickly. But when I was stuck at home during COVID, I didn't have anything to do. And so it became very much a COVID project when I wasn't doing something else. I was just sitting there on my couch typing my books. I remember the specific day I was like, okay, I need to set this number of pages a day. This is old Brad talking. I need to set this number of pages a day and I have to hit them or I'm not allowed to do anything fun until I hit that quota. So once I set that quota, it took me maybe 6 months to write the book. And that was in 2020. So it took me a while to get it to a point where I figured I could try and look at publishing. I then eventually self-published it in 2024. So, I mean, it was a journey to get there for sure.
And it was a journey on your trips and you learned so much about the world.
Right.
Places that you got to see, museums that you got to visit that you'd only read about before.
Right.
You talked about your dreams. One of the dreams coming true was traveling. And then another dream was that you wanted to do something for yourself, which turned out to be the bodybuilding.
Right.
So what are some of the other dreams? Yeah.
I think that one of the interesting things about what this book does, the premise of the book, that it's essentially an autobiography of my time in college, interspersed with my first trip to Europe, which was in my sophomore year of college. And so one of the things that I've come to learn is that my career, I am very, very thankful for my career and I enjoy my job, but it's not what I would envision myself doing for the rest of my life. My biggest dream would be able to be a travel writer that is paid to travel and write. That would be my ultimate. Bill Bryson is my favorite. He's my literary hero. If you haven't read any of his books, they're all hilarious and very informative. And so that would be my ultimate dream, is being able to write and travel for a career, I think is sort of where I envision myself eventually ending up.
It's a great book to talk about traveling, but also I think in another is showing that it's okay to come out of the shell.
Yes.
And have a good time,
Yeah.
but still be responsible.
Yes. So a lot of the book is about my debauchery as a younger man, which I think was fun for me to write, and then for my family to read, because I'm sure that they knew. I mean, I'm not secretive about my debauchery,
Obviously not.
Yes, no. My parents knew that I was out and drinking with friends when I was in college. But the thing is as you mentioned, we're all very nerds at heart. That's the thing, is so we're not out there doing awful things or drinking and driving. God forbid. We're very, all of those things. We're like, no, we're just going to go and get a bottle of something and go to a house and talk about Star Wars and history and have debates and drink. And that's what we did. So I was very thankful that I have a very, very wholesome group of friends when they're not drunk. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there is debauchery in the book if you want it. So yeah.
So with just a few words, you summarized, it takes an open heart to live.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that.
Yeah.
I love that quote, by the way.
Yeah. One of the things that I think is very important for anybody to realize, and I think most of us do eventually realize it, is that you can't be an island unto yourself in terms of your life and how you live and how you interact with others. It's more about the people around you as opposed to yourself. And so you obviously need an open heart to be able to understand all of the different perspectives of the people around you. And life is built of so many different things that you as an individual can't represent or be aware of all of them. So in order to get a full life, you need to be able to experience the great diversity of things in the world. And that involves being able to talk to people who don't agree with you, being able to break out of your shell in terms of, I think it would be scary to go to X place for X reason. You need to be able to go there and see that they're just people. You have to be aware of the fact that what you live in, your bubble, is not the world. And you have to have the ability to be humble enough to know that in order to actually see the world and live, you need to be able to go out and see these other things and accept them into you as part of what makes you human and defines the human experience, which is common to all people. So it's one of those things that you need to be able to have not only an open heart, but an open mind, really. But it's about also enjoying yourself. And that's, I think, where it's more your heart than your mind, because you have to have fun while doing all of these things. So
I really liked the part. And it was just a paragraph about visiting barbershops and salons, but not because you just wanted to see what they're doing, but you wanted to see the diversity of our culture.
Right.
And so you kind of took those drives and went around. And I think that you're seeing the world from a very logical point of view and perspective, and you're seeing it from a point of view of acceptance.
Right.
And that is a great positive imprint. You were in Boy Scouts, and anything you want to share about some of the things you do outside of work?
Yeah, once I started my master's degree, my time definitely fell off, and I graduated with that a year ago. So I'm now getting to the place where I have starting to get more free time back. But before that, I was on the board of the Great Southwest Council of the Boy Scouts of America, now just scouting BSA. And that was a very interesting thing to sort of see the high level behind the scenes, how the Scouts work and function, which was really an interesting full circle moment. So now I rely on my stepbrother, Frankie. He's on a charitable board, and he has a lot of very interesting opportunities for involvement. So I do a lot of my volunteering through him now, because he's, this thing's happening. I'm like, I'll do that. So we were planting trees about a month ago with, I think it's called Tree New Mexico, nonprofit that essentially plants trees for free all across the city. And people volunteer to take these trees, but they don't want to have to buy the trees themselves. So they say, I'll take care of it once you plant it. So it involves planting trees for people. So yeah, I like looking for little things like that to sort of be in Albuquerque and make it a better place and make other people realize how much of a cool place Albuquerque is. And so, yeah.
You've also inspired, as I recall, it's been a number of years, some girls to join Scouts of America.
Right. I was a board member charged with trying to help sort of their social media impact and all of these things. So I knew of some women that I had known younger when I was in Boy Scouts myself, and I brought them along to try and help me do the whole thing. So it was an interesting sort of way to view how anybody can become involved in these great organizations. It's not about who you are, it's about who you're helping. So
there you go. I love that. It's not about who you are, but who you're helping.
Right.
Excellent. So we will get close to ending, but is there anything you want to talk about that we missed
Oh man, I don't think so. I would say is just please go buy the book at a local bookstore from online, and hopefully I have a couple of new books coming your way in a few years.
Well, the book, Brad Sedillo, and by the way, it's Sedillo.
Yes.
So Friendboats, and it's on Indigo and Amazon and
Ingram. Yes, Ingram Spark. Yeah, so you can buy it online also through Bookworks, which is a local Albuquerque store, or Page One, which is also an Albuquerque store. If you want it a Kindle version, it is available on Kindle as well.
Yes, on Amazon as well. So internationally, there's a lot of listeners international. It's a great book, and Brad talks a lot about Europe, his European travels.
Yes.
Before we get to your inspirational words, your last words, let's have a quick toast. We both love toasts.
Yeah.
We both love Scotland. And
love Scotland.
Yeah, I love Scotland.
That will have to be in another book. I'll tell you about my trip to Scotland and the distilleries. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of whiskey to celebrate our little rendezvous here.
Yes.
Here on Your Positive Imprint.
Slanja.
Slanja, okay.
That is yummy.
That is Scotch whiskey.
Debauchery.
To learn more about Brad,
I have 2 Instagrams. So it's at Brad Sedillo or at Brad Sedillo Fitness if you want the fitness part of it. Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
There you go.
But when you Google Brad Sedillo, you'll find all sorts. Sedillo. So last inspiring words to
Interesting.
share with listeners.
Yeah. My biggest thing is, again, I'm starting another book on the Holocaust. It's weird to think about it that obviously I don't look at the world through the Holocaust, but it's one of the things that I always keep in the back of my mind, that look at what people are capable of doing to one another, and also look at how what you're going through right now can be put into perspective by the suffering of people in the past, and that will help you look at the world in a way that will help you be more productive and more constructive, because you have to realize, hey, what I'm going through right now can pass, and I need to be able to be the best person that I can be to keep that from happening ever again, essentially. So it's something that I think about all the time, and people ask me, what is the lens that I have? I'm saying, well, I'm both cynical because I can see what people are capable of, but I'm also very, very positive about what people are also capable of doing that is good. Because I mean, that's the whole thing about reading about people in the past, is you learn about incredible people that you maybe don't always think about, but that allowed us to get to where we are. Because obviously the evil didn't win. That's the big takeaway, is that there are a lot of millions of individual people who did very nice things to help one another. And that's just something that I think makes the world a much better place to look at it through that. So read history, and I think that's the best that you can do for yourself.
Brad Sedillo, you're awesome.
Yeah, this was fun.
Get together. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very nice. Good.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Well, again, it takes an open heart to live.
This is part 2 with Brad Sedillo. Listen to part 1, episode 228, where Brad discusses his bodybuilding journey. Your Positive Imprint is a free podcast. If you'd like to buy me a coffee to help fund the production of this podcast, here's how. Go to buymeacoffee.com/yourpositiveimprint, and any support you offer will be greatly valued. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to Your Positive Imprint. And until next time, enjoy listening to over 200 episodes of Your Positive Imprint. Your Positive Imprint. What's your PI?